What video or recording is perfectly innocent, but becomes terrifying when you look into the story behind it? Maybe not that innocent to begin with, but extra creepy knowing the truth. A video of an African grey parrot named Bud saying don't ducking shoot. He witnessed his owner, Martin Durham, being murdered by his wife. Bud also mimicked both sides of verbal fights, alternating between to a male and female voice. I believe the parrot testified in court. The wife was convicted. Drive. NASA's sports medicine videos. Has one of the docs for USA gymnastics and has had a ton of videos on his website of him demonstrating various sports med techniques and treatments. It looks professional on the surface. The thing is, some of his techniques are totally made up. Some techniques he demonstrated on video he would digitally penetrate, finger, young girls in the vagina and anus. He performed these techniques on hundreds of young girls under the guise of it being for their health and sometimes directly in front of their parents. Sometimes while aroused. Watch Athlete A on Netflix if you want the story on this scumbag. Tommy Cooper death on stage. People was thinking he was still acting when he collapsed on the ground dead for a heart attack. Edit. Grammar. Tommy was a brilliant performer who was deliberately amateurish and had things go wrong as part of his routine. So when he died, many thought it was part of the show. Tears from Heaven. Eric Clapton. It's a song written to his 4.5-year-old son who died after falling 53 stories out an apartment window that had accidentally been left open. There's a scene in Scarface where Tony and others are upstairs in an apartment while Manny is supposed to keep watch from his car. The leg scene. Manny gets distracted by a blonde girl in a bikini and starts hitting on her. Meanwhile, shit is getting crazy for Tony. It's a disturbing scene, but there's also an even more disturbing backstory behind something seemingly innocuous. The blonde girl, who was Tammy Lynn Leppert. Tammy Lynn was a Florida beauty queen and model who, near the time of shooting the movie, went to a party and didn't come back the same person. It's like she changed overnight. While shooting, she saw a blood packet get activated during filming and freaked out. She was released from the film and began showing major signs of paranoia. She claimed she saw something she shouldn't have, but wouldn't say what. Fearing some unknown person would kill her, she became almost a total shut-in and became argumentative / quick to anger. Then, one day, she went for a drive with a friend and never came home. The friend says they got into an argument and she got out of the car multiple miles from her home and refused to get back in. Nobody has seen her since. That's a very brief retelling, but it is a crazy story, and I always think of that / bring it up to whoever I'm with when I'm flipping through the channels and see that movie on. That kid who did anime reviews and ended up making a video about his big future plans. He ended up killing his entire family and tried shooting up his old high school before he got caught. Also, Elliot Rodger's old videos are just eerie. IDK about innocent, but if you cut out the ending, the video leading up to Bud Dwyer's suicide seems so normal. Just another guy on TV getting harassed by reporters over the latest controversy. If it had cut there, you could air it on the evening news and nobody would know someone died less than 20 seconds later. Just disturbing. Edit. Corrected some words. Back in the 90s, there was a segment on the Jenny Jones show where a guy, Scott Amager, confessed that he had a crush on a male friend, Jonathan Schmitz. Schmitz was so embarrassed by the appearance that he shot and killed Amager 3 days after the taping. Next door neighbor security footage of a disturbingly calm Chris Watt loading up his work truck in the morning with the bodies of his recently strangled pregnant wife and 2 young children. To dispose of them. Absolutely ducked up. The video of the Boston Marathon bomber going to a supermarket to casually buy milk after blowing up 2 homemade bombs at the race. Duck him. I saw a video about a biker riding his bike through a makeshift bridge during flood. The bike and the rider falls into the water and he was missing, but only later on further probing it was revealed he drowned in the place where he fell down. The people looking for him didn't bother to remove the bike, so he was trapped under his bike and died. Mother Love by Queen. Freddie got most of the song recorded. but Brian has the last verse. At the studio, Freddie said he was tired and would finish the rest some other time. He never did. Resting at home during his final days, Brian came back later after Freddie's death and finished the last bit. Any of the recordings of Jim Jones at his interracial church. If he had been hit by a car before he went to CA, he would have been looked up to as one of the early civil rights activists. It's crazy to me how someone who was calling for unity between people could end up as one of the most awful cult leaders in recent history. How about the kid crying while getting a hug from a cop? He's wearing a free hugs sign that his physically and mentally abusive mothers forced him to wear to an Eric Garner rally. Years later they drove off a cliff with their whole family in the minivan. They'd been abusing their adopted family 4 years prior. Not a recording, but a pretty terrifying picture that gets circle jerked all over the internet without the real story. Edit, Devon Hart if anyone is wondering. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.